Hi guys, Holly from Kaizen Hybrid Training. Got a question last week when I was talking about diets, about the paleo diet and what my opinion was on it. And without getting all like super sciencey on everyone, because I know nobody wants to hear all that, I'm going to try to give a really brief summary on what I think of that diet and kind of trend diets in general, which is what I think the paleo diet is. For one, the concept that this was how our ancestors have eaten or ate way back in the day is what most people think makes sense about this diet. On a logical level, that doesn't really make sense because we've evolved a lot. I look at it as silly as the whole toe shoe concept. Like, we've been wearing shoes for a really long time. We don't need to suddenly revert back to thousands of years ago and start walking around barefoot. So the problem with that is we may have eaten certain foods. We may have been hunter-gatherers, but we weren't walking into Whole Foods and getting a berry fruit bar that has 100 grams of carbs and having paleo brownies at the corner of every coffee shop. So the problem with all this is it's still typically a very carb-heavy diet. It's supposed to be a meat-based diet. It's supposed to be higher protein, and you're getting rid of the grains and beans. But most people who attempt to go paleo, they don't really do a lot of research. They don't even know why they're doing it, except for they probably want to look like a CrossFit athlete. And they end up just getting a lot of paleo food items that there's nothing special about a paleo food. It may be natural, it may be organic, it may be without a lot of chemicals, but the number one thing that your physique and your body fat and stuff like that comes down to is still calories and macros. How much protein are you getting? How many carbs are you getting? So there's nothing that overrides that. Like eating 100 grams of carbs from Fruity Pebbles or from gluten-free brownies or paleo brownies, it's still 100 grams of carbs. So you really have to get specific. What's your goal? What are you going for? And does this diet serve you? If you're just trying to clean up processed foods from your diet and you're trying to experiment with what makes your body feel good, then go for it, experiment with it, but be mindful that there's nothing inherently awesome about the paleo diet or low carb diet or Mediterranean diet or any of these things that use the word diet. For one, that's kind of your first red flag, run away, because you have to find a way of eating that's sustainable and that's going to work for you. So you could try to follow the protocol, but make sure you're doing your research on what it's beneficial for, what the true outlines of it are for. And keep in mind that you still have to track your food. You have to know your numbers, especially if you're trying to lose weight. And if you're a performance athlete or anything like that, then you have to understand, how that ties in. And just because the CrossFitters have made the paleo diet popular doesn't mean that they're all eating the same or that they're only following that. So it kind of all comes down to the do your own research. Make sure it's going to complement your goals. Make sure you're following it in a structured way, not trying just kind of sort of to do it, but you don't really even know what the ins and outs and the guidelines for the diet are. So hope this helps. I hope it gives you a little clarity, or at least points you in the right direction if you've been thinking about it or wondering what the paleo diet was. And let me know if you guys have any more questions.